Sunrise. Coming up this morning, as prices at the pumps hike, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana says trend likely to continue even after Iran-Israel-US tensions ease.
Chances of the world stock levels getting back to the pre-February 28 era is not going to be immediate. It could take 3 months in the minimum.
Meanwhile, Africa Policy Lens Fellow urges government must fully revamp Tema Oil Refinery to mitigate fuel crisis.
If we're able to get TOR to work on a full scale, that minimizes our dependence on importing this fuel. It means that we have solved a greater part of the challenges.
And much later, UK and Ghana launched £215 million growth partnership to drive maritime tech and green infrastructure boom through 2028. I am Christabel. Success Trevor will bring you details by headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thank you for staying with us. Now, consumers hoping for rapid relief at the local pumps following a potential de-escalation of geopolitical tensions between Iran and Israel, US, are likely to be disappointed. Executive Secretary of Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, has warned that the current upward trajectory of domestic fuel prices is poised to persist regardless of shifting dynamics in the Middle East as global supply chains have been disrupted.
In the event that you even have crude coming in because the Strait of Hormuz, there's a cessation in hostility on the straits, chances of, the world stock levels getting back to the pre-February 28 era is not going to be immediate. It could take 3 months in the minimum, according to some reports that we have chanced upon. Should the US and Iran come to a deal today, you are not looking at the levels, the stock levels that we had returning to, those levels anytime soon. And that would mean that demand will continue to outstrip supply, and that would mean that higher prices would continue to persist. And so these are not signs of, a one-off. Is it a cost push factor that Ghanaians would have to deal with? We may live with higher oil prices for some time, even if the war came to an end today.
Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of COPEC. Meanwhile, as volatile fuel price hikes continue to pressure local industries and households, the government has been urged to urgently step in and restore the Tema Oil Refinery TOR to full operational capacity. Making the call on business focus, a senior fellow at the governance and economic think tank Africa Policy Lens, Dr. Eric Boakye-Yadom stated that bringing the national refinery back online is a critical prerequisite for achieving long-term fuel security and local price stability.
If we're able to get TOR to work on a full scale, that minimizes our dependence on importing this fuel. It means that we have solved a greater part of the challenges, and we wouldn't have to change so much to BDCs to import this fuel. That would be one way of solving the challenge, rather than focusing on injecting. Yes, injecting the short term, you will do well. The city will appear to be doing. But in the long term, we will come back to this conversation. And this is what we kept saying since last year. Michael, I think that for government should have, short-term and long-term approach. One of the things that government did last year, which is the injection, was a short-term approach. And it has proven that it's not it will not be successful in the long term. Another thing that I think government can consider, is to improve our transportation system.
Dr. Eric Boachi Yadom is a senior fellow at Africa Policy Lens. The president of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Stefan Abbas Mizan, has issued an urgent appeal to the government to implement targeted policy interventions to protect local businesses from the devastating impact of soaring fuel prices. Speaking on behalf of the private sector on Business Focus, he warned that the continuous upward adjustment at the pumps are aggressively driving up production and operational overheads, making it increasingly difficult for local industries to remain competitive.
We need to look at tax incentives, looking at all these things that are happening. All the costs cannot be passed on onto the consumer. So the government needs to take up certain actions that would mean that it's absorbing some of these costs. Other than that, life becomes very unbearable for the consumer and also the manufacturer as well, considering all that is happening. So yes, government needs to come in with some of these things, subsidies, tax incentives, improvement in our infrastructure, as well as I was talking about, and then interest. I know that interest rate will be going up because there will be inflation, and the only way inflation can be controlled is one of the ways that it can be controlled is by increasing interest. But that also means that the private sector is crowded out of borrowing to be able to expand.
Away from that, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, the nation's largest commercial transport operator, has called on the general public to completely disregard any announcements circulating regarding an immediate increase in transport fares effective today. The directive was issued by the General Secretary of the Union, Godfred Abubere, following unilateral announcements by sprinter driver groups attempting to enforce unapproved upward adjustments at various lorry terminals. Take a listen.
The real issue is that the publication, if we look at it carefully, didn't have any particular officer who signed it. So, yes, we have all cited it, but GPSU as a body have not officially authorized that by Tuesday, 2nd June, fares will be adjusted up by 20%. No, we have not. What I can tell you for sure is that we are in talks with the transport minister, and until that negotiation table is completed, and then for that matter, a particular percentage margin is arrived at, then we will then write officially to our regions, and the regions would to draw that conclusion that by 2nd June we would go to review fares up by 20% without recourse to the new protocols. I don't think that one is proper. So we are negotiating with the government, so there's no point giving a deadline as to when you want to effect. You see, the next price window is coming on the 1st June. So we are both monitoring the situation to see whether the fuel prices will be lowered or will actually be increased again. The situation is not off guard that you can just tell that fuel prices is in so.
You just heard there GPRTU's General Secretary Godfred Abubere. We'll now take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of key commodities are also faring on the global markets.
On the interbank foreign exchange markets, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis 75 pence worth. It's gained 2 pence worth. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis 80 pence worth. It recorded no change. The euro is selling at 13 cedis 66 pence worth. It also lost 4 pence worth. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $95.07 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,485.69 per ounce, down by $54.57. Cocoa is trading at $3,895 per ton, down by $28.
And that was an update from the Forex and Commodities market. So that'll be all for the business news on Sunrise. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. The rest of the Sunrise team are on standby. Don't go away.